Navy Lieutenant Jack Harrison opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. The last thing he remembered was a bright light surrounding his fighter jet during a routine patrol over the Pacific Ocean. Now he was lying on soft grass under trees that looked almost like the ones from Earth, but not quite. The leaves had a slight blue tint. The air smelled clean but strange. Jack sat up and looked around. This place resembled a forest, but something felt off. The weather was perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. The horizon in the distance formed an unnaturally straight line. The sky was blue, but a shade darker than Earth's sky. "Hello?" Jack called out. His voice echoed slightly. "Anyone there?" He stood up and checked himself. He still wore his flight suit, but his communications equipment was gone. Jack decided to explore. He walked through the trees, noticing that while they looked like oak and pine, the bark patterns were too regular, as if someone had copied trees without understanding. Natural variation? After walking for about 20 minutes, Jack heard voices. He moved carefully toward the sound and found a small clearing where 4 people sat in a circle. "We need to establish a perimeter," a broad-shouldered man with a military haircut was saying. "Figure out how big this place is." "I've been here 3 weeks," a woman with short brown hair replied. "I've walked for hours in each direction. There's a barrier. You can't see it, but you can feel it, like walking into a wall of jelly." Jack stepped into the clearing. "Hello?" Everyone turned. The military-looking man jumped to his feet, taking a defensive stance. "At ease," Jack said. "Lieutenant Jack Harrison, United States Navy. Fighter pilot." The military man relaxed slightly. "Bill Carter, former Marine Corps." The woman with short, brown hair stood up. "Dr. Samantha Wright, I'm a biologist from UC Berkeley." A tall woman with dark hair introduced herself next. "Lisa Daniels, I worked as an engineer at NASA." The fourth person, a thin man with glasses, nodded nervously. "Frank Powell. I'm just a high school science teacher from Ohio." Jack sat down with them. "How did you all get here?" They shared similar stories: bright lights, lost time, waking up in this strange forest. Bill had been missing for 6 months, Samantha for 3 weeks, Lisa for almost 2 years, Frank for just 4 days. "So what is this place?" Jack asked. Lisa pointed to the unnaturally perfect horizon. "It's a habitat. Artificial. Someone built it to look like Earth, but they got details wrong." "Like a zoo?" Jack asked. Samantha nodded. "Exactly like a zoo. And I think we're the exhibits." Over. The next few days, Jack met 12 more humans scattered throughout the habitat. They had all been taken from different parts of Earth at different times. The group began to organize, mapping their surroundings and pooling their knowledge. Their habitat was huge, approximately 20 square miles of artificial Earth-like environment. It contained forests, a small lake, meadows, and a stream that formed a perfect circle around the perimeter. The weather never changed dramatically. It rained lightly for exactly 1 hour every 3 days. The temperature remained comfortable. They weren't alone in the habitat. Earth animals lived there too. Wolves, bears, mountain lions, and other predators. Strangely, these animals avoided the humans, keeping their distance as if programmed to do so. One evening, as the group sat around a campfire they had built, something moved at the edge of the clearing. Jack grabbed a makeshift spear. "Who's there?" he called. The bushes rustled, and a wolf stepped out. It looked at them with unnatural intelligence, then turned and walked away. "That was weird," Bill said. "I've been tracking the wolf packs. They never come this close." "They're watching us," Samantha said. "Or someone is watching us through them." The next morning, Jack and Bill decided to climb the tallest tree they could find to get a better view of their surroundings. Jack went first, scaling a massive pine-like tree. As he neared the top, about 70 feet up, he hit something invisible. It felt like a soft, yielding wall. He pushed against it, but it held firm. "There's some kind of barrier," he called down to Bill. From his high vantage point, Jack could see beyond their forested area. In the distance, other enclosures stretched out, different environments containing different creatures. Some looked like Earth habitats, deserts, tundra, wetlands. Others were completely alien landscapes with strange vegetation and odd colors. When Jack climbed down, the group gathered to hear what he had seen. "We're definitely in a zoo," Lisa said after Jack described the other enclosures. "But why are we in with the predators? And who built this place?" That night they noticed lights moving in the forest. Jack, Bill, and Samantha went to investigate. They followed the moving lights to a section of the habitat they hadn't explored before. Hidden among dense trees was a transparent wall with a platform behind it. On the platform stood creatures unlike anything they had ever seen. They were tall and slender with 4 arms and smooth, pale skin that glowed faintly in the dark. Their heads were oval-shaped with large, black eyes that wrapped partially around their skulls. They wore shimmering clothes that changed color as they moved. The aliens were watching the humans through the transparent wall. They held devices that looked like tablets, occasionally tapping on them while observing. "They're studying us," Samantha whispered. Jack stepped forward into the open, facing the observation platform. The aliens froze. One of them dropped its tablet. They clearly hadn't expected the humans to discover them. Jack raised his hand in greeting. "Hello," he called out. The aliens backed away in what looked like fear. They pressed buttons on the wall, and a metal shield slid down, covering the transparent section. "Did you see that?" Bill asked. "They're afraid of us? But why?" Lisa wondered. "What could make them afraid of humans?" Samantha looked thoughtful. "Think about where we are, in with the predators. I think they believe we're dangerous." Jack stared at the now covered observation platform. "If they think we're dangerous now, wait until they find out what humans do when they're locked in cages." Over the next few days, the group returned to the observation area, but the metal shield remained down. However, they noticed small floating devices, no bigger than baseballs, hovering at the edges of their camp watching them. "Drones," Lisa said. "They're observing us from a distance now." One morning, food appeared in a clearing as it did every few days. Usually it was fruits, vegetables, and large quantities of raw meat. The humans took the plant food and left the meat for the predator animals. "They think we eat raw meat," Samantha realized. "They think we're carnivores." Jack looked up at one of the floating drones. "We need to make them understand we're not what they think we are." "And then what?" Bill asked. "Then we find a way home," Jack said, staring at the drone. "But first, we need to understand why they put humans in the predator section of their galactic zoo." 3 months passed since Jack first arrived in the strange habitat. The humans had built a small village near the lake. They made simple huts using fallen branches and leaves. They created tools from stones and sticks. They worked together to survive and understand their situation. Every morning they gathered to share information and make plans. Today they sat in a circle near the main fire pit as Dr. Samantha Wright explained her latest discovery. "I've been tracking the feeding schedule," Samantha said, pointing to marks she had carved into a piece of bark. "Food appears in the clearings every 3 days at sunrise, but they're giving us way too much meat." "Maybe they think we eat more than we do," Lisa suggested. Samantha shook her head. "I think they believe we eat like the other predators here. They don't understand that humans are omnivores. They think we're pure carnivores who hunt and eat meat only." Jack considered this. "That explains why we're in with the wolves and bears. They think we're like them." "Exactly," Samantha said. "But there's more. I've been watching the other animals. Notice how they never come near us? I think they've been programmed to avoid us. Our captors believe we're apex predators, more dangerous than anything else here." Bill laughed. "Well, they're not entirely wrong about that." After the meeting, Jack and Bill went to explore the boundary near the waterfall. They had mapped most of the habitat over the past months but kept looking for weaknesses in the invisible barrier. "Look there," Bill said, pointing to a shimmer in the air near the falling water. "The barrier looks different." They approached carefully. The invisible wall that surrounded their habitat seemed thinner here. As they watched, a section of it opened, and a small floating robot entered. It was about the size of a basketball, metallic with several arms extending from its center. It moved to the rocks near the waterfall and began collecting water samples. Jack and Bill exchanged a look. They had seen these maintenance drones before, but never so close. They crouched behind a large rock and waited. The drone finished its work and moved back toward the opening in the barrier. Just as it reached the exit, Bill sprang forward with surprising speed. He grabbed the drone, his strong arms wrapping around the metal sphere. It made a high-pitched sound and tried to escape, its arms flailing. Jack rushed to help. Together they managed to disable the floating robot before the barrier closed again. "Let's get this back to Lisa," Jack said. "Maybe she can figure out how it works." They carried the drone back to the village, hidden under Jack's jacket. The other humans gathered around as Lisa examined it. "It's surprisingly simple technology," she said after opening a panel on the drone's side. "Advanced compared to what we have on Earth, but the basic principles are the same." She worked on the drone for 2 days, figuring out its systems. Finally, she called everyone together. "I've done it," she announced. "I've reprogrammed it to access their information network. We can see what they see." Lisa activated the drone. A beam of light projected from its front lens, creating a floating image in the air. Strange symbols appeared, constantly changing. "I can't read their language," Lisa said, "but I can access visual information." She tapped on the drone, and the projection changed to show a map. It was massive, showing hundreds of different habitats connected by pathways. A small flashing dot indicated their location. "This is the whole facility," Lisa explained. "We're in Section 47C, labeled Extremely Dangerous Predators." She tapped again, and the image zoomed out further, revealing that the entire facility was contained within an enormous structure floating in space. "It's a space station," Jack said in awe. "A zoo in space." Lisa nodded. "From what I can tell, it's called the Grand Galactic Biological Preservation and Exhibition Center." She tapped the drone again, and the image changed to show information about their habitat. While they couldn't read the text, the pictures were clear. They showed humans hunting, fighting wars, and engaging in sports. "They've been studying us for a long time," Samantha said quietly. The next image shocked them all. It showed Earth, but labeled with symbols and warnings. Lisa figured out how to translate some basic terms by matching symbols to images. "They classify Earth as a Class 5 death world," she said. "That's the highest danger rating. They think our planet is one of the most dangerous in the galaxy." "Why would they think that?" Frank asked. Samantha considered the images. "Think about it from their perspective. Earth has extreme weather, hurricanes, blizzards, floods. We have earthquakes and volcanoes. Our gravity might be stronger than what they're used to. Our atmosphere might be toxic to them. And then there's us," Bill added. "Humans who evolved on this dangerous planet. We must seem incredibly tough and aggressive to them." Jack looked at the images of Earth again. "So they think we're super predators from a death planet. That's why they locked us in this section of the zoo." Lisa continued exploring the drones. Information. She found records of when each human was captured. The earliest was almost 5 years ago, a woman named Kelly Green who had been hiking in Colorado. "According to this, they've taken 26 humans in total," Lisa said. "We've only found 17 in our habitat." "Where are the others?" Jack wondered. Lisa searched further and found more troubling information. Some died shortly after capture. Others were moved to different sections for study. The group fell silent, processing this information. They were far from home, trapped in an alien zoo, classified as dangerous predators. "We need to decide what to do," Jack finally said. "Do we try to escape? Do we try to communicate with our captors? Or do we wait and gather more information?" Bill stood up. "I say we escape, find a ship and get back to Earth." "And go where?" Samantha asked. "We don't know how to fly alien spaceships. We don't even know where Earth is from here." "I think we should try to communicate," Lisa suggested. "Show them we're intelligent beings, not just animals. Make them understand they've made a mistake." Jack nodded. "Lisa's right. Before we can escape, we need to understand who our captors are and why they're doing this. We need to make them see us as people, not predators." The floating drones continued to watch them from a distance. Jack looked up at one and waved deliberately. "They're watching us right now," he said. "Let's give them something to see." 6 months into their captivity, the humans were startled by a flash of light near the lake. They had grown used to their routine in the habitat and had developed a system for survival. Some gathered food, others built shelters, and a few, like Lisa, continued to study the alien technology. Jack was the first to reach the spot where the light had appeared. A man lay on the ground, unconscious, but breathing. He was middle-aged with graying hair and wore a tweed jacket with patches on the elbows. "We've got another arrival," Jack called to the others. They carried the man back to their village. Samantha checked him for injuries while the rest waited for him to wake up. An hour later, the man opened his eyes and sat up quickly. "Where am I?" he asked, looking around with confusion. "You're in an alien zoo," Jack said simply. "Welcome to the club." They explained the situation to the new arrival, who introduced himself as Professor Alan Garcia, a linguist from the University of Michigan. "I was at a conference in Chicago," Alan said. "I stepped outside for some air, saw a bright light, and now I'm here." He looked around at the makeshift village. "You've done well organizing yourselves." "We do what we can," Bill said, "but we're still prisoners." Alan's expertise in languages and communication theory proved valuable. He studied the information from the drone Lisa had reprogrammed and began to understand patterns in the alien language. "It's based on mathematical concepts," he explained to the group. "The symbols represent relationships between objects and ideas, not just sounds like in human languages." One evening, as the sun-like light of the habitat dimmed to simulate night, Lisa noticed unusual movement on the observation deck. The metal shield that had covered the transparent wall since Jack first spotted the aliens was sliding open slightly. "Someone's watching us," she whispered to Jack. They pretended not to notice and continued their evening activities. Through casual glances, they observed a small figure on the observation platform. Unlike the tall aliens they had seen before, this one was shorter and moved with quick, curious gestures. "I think it's a young one," Alan said when they told him. "Maybe their equivalent of a teenager." For the next few nights, the young alien returned to watch them. Unlike the adult aliens who had fled in fear, this one seemed fascinated. It would stay for hours observing their activities. Alan suggested they try to communicate. "If we can establish contact with this young alien, we might be able to explain our situation." They devised a plan. The next night, when the young alien appeared, Alan approached the observation platform slowly. He carried a drawing he had made on a large piece of bark, simple symbols showing humans and aliens talking together. The alien startled when Alan approached but didn't flee. It watched with large, curious eyes as Alan held up the drawing. After a moment, the alien pressed a button, and a small section of the transparent wall slid open. A metallic device floated through the opening and hovered in front of Alan. "It's a translation device," Alan said excitedly. The device emitted a series of tones and clicks. Alan listened carefully and then spoke to it slowly. "Hello. My name is Alan. We are humans. We are intelligent beings, not animals." The device processed his words, then responded with more tones and clicks. A soft blue light projected from it, forming alien symbols in the air. Over the next few weeks, Alan worked with the translation device to establish communication with the young alien, whom they nicknamed Spark because of the bioluminescent patterns that appeared on its skin when it was excited. They learned that Spark was indeed a juvenile of the species that ran the zoo, equivalent to a human teenager. It was working at the facility as part of its education. "Spark says its people are called the Valner," Alan reported to the group after one of their conversations. "They're a peaceful species that evolved on a planet with very stable conditions. No extreme weather, no large predators, very little competition for resources." "That explains why they're so afraid of us," Samantha said. "They never had to develop the survival instincts we have." Through their conversations with Spark, they learned more about the galactic community. Most intelligent species had evolved on gentle worlds with stable environments. They developed spacefaring technology through thousands of years of gradual progress and peaceful cooperation. Humans, who had developed advanced technology in mere centuries while constantly at war with each other, terrified them. Earth, with its extreme conditions and dangerous wildlife, was considered an anomaly, a planet that should not have produced intelligent life. Spark says they're keeping us here for our own good as well as for the safety of others, Alan explained. They believe if we were released, we would be dangerous to other species or would not survive in their environments. The humans tried to explain that they were omnivores, not pure carnivores, and that they were capable of peaceful coexistence. Spark was fascinated but skeptical. Their records show that humans fight wars, eat meat, and compete with each other, Alan said, behaviors that seem incredibly violent to most galactic species. Lisa had an idea. She used the reprogrammed drone to show Spark human art, music, and literature. Alan translated concepts that didn't exist in the Valnar language, ideas like poetry, fiction, and music for pleasure rather than just communication. Spark began to understand that humans were complex beings with both aggressive and compassionate qualities. It started to question the classification system that had placed humans in the predator section. One night, as Spark was leaving after a long conversation, it paused at the barrier. Through the translation device, it said something that Alan translated. For the others, I will help you. What has been done to you is wrong. You are people, not animals. The next day, Spark didn't come to the observation platform as usual. Instead, a group of adult Valnar appeared, looking agitated. They pointed at the humans and argued among themselves. Something's happening, Jack said. I think Spark told them about us. Alan used the translation device to listen to their conversation. His face grew concerned. Spark revealed our communications to the zoo administrators, he said. Some agree with Spark that we've been misclassified. Others are angry that Spark broke the rules by talking to us. What does this mean for us? Lisa asked. It means things are about to change, Alan replied. For better or worse, the Valnar are now debating our status. Spark has created a division among them about how to handle the human exhibit. As they watched, one of the adult Valnar approached the barrier and activated a larger version of the translation device. Its message was brief but clear. We will evaluate your species again, prepare to be studied. A year had passed since Jack first woke up in the strange habitat. Now everything was changing. The invisible barrier that had contained them was partially lowered. A group of aliens entered their village, carrying various devices and instruments. Jack stood with Bill, Lisa, Samantha, and Alan as the aliens approached. These weren't just Valnar like Spark. There were 5 different species, each with unique appearances and movements. One stepped forward, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. It activated a translation device, similar to the one Spark had provided. I am Director Nal of the Galactic Zoological Authority, the alien said through the device. We are here to reassess your species classification, Alan responded, acting as the group's speaker. We welcome your reassessment. We are not dangerous predators. We are intelligent beings with our own civilization. Director Nal's upper eyes blinked. That is what we are here to determine. This delegation includes representatives from the Sentient Rights Council as well. Over the next week, the humans were interviewed extensively. Their biology was examined, their behaviors observed. Samantha worked with alien biologists to explain human physiology. Alan facilitated cultural exchanges, while Jack and Bill demonstrated human problem-solving and adaptability. Lisa noticed that the aliens were particularly interested in how humans cooperated. They keep testing how we work together, she told Jack one evening after a long day of assessments. I think that surprises them, Jack replied. They expect predators to be solitary or competitive, not cooperative. The delegation made several discoveries that seemed to shock them. They were amazed that humans extended empathy beyond their own species, a trait they considered rare for predator-evolved creatures. They were surprised by how quickly humans adapted to new situations. Most of all, they were stunned by human creativity. Your ability to imagine things that do not exist is extraordinary, Director Nal told them. Most species can only think about what is real and present. On the 10th day of assessment, Lisa made an important discovery. While working with one of the alien scientists, she gained access to more of the facility's information system. She found communications about other sections of the zoo. There are other intelligent species here, she told the group that night. They've been misclassified just like us. Species from other death worlds, as they call them. Can you contact them? Jack asked. Lisa nodded. I think so. The system has messaging capabilities. Using the reprogrammed drone, Lisa sent simple messages to another habitat, Section 51B, home to beings called the Corva. The responses were crude but clear. The Corva were also intelligent beings who had been mistakenly classified as animals. When Lisa showed this evidence to Director Nall, the alien's skin changed color from blue to a pale green. This is deeply concerning, Nall said. If multiple intelligent species have been misclassified, our entire system must be examined. On the 12th day, the delegation gathered in the center of the human village. Director Nall addressed them formally. Our assessment is complete, Nall announced. We have determined that humans are indeed sentient beings with a civilization of their own. Keeping you here violates numerous galactic laws regarding the treatment of spacefaring species. We're not exactly spacefaring, Samantha pointed out. We've only been to our moon and sent probes to nearby planets. Another alien stepped forward, a short reptilian being with intricate patterns on its scales. By our definition, any species that has left their planet's atmosphere is considered spacefaring, regardless of how far they have traveled, it explained. Your status is clear. So we can go home? Bill asked hopefully. Director Nall's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The situation is complicated. You must be released immediately, but there are concerns. What concerns? Jack asked. Knowledge of Earth's location, said another delegate, a floating cloud-like being whose words came from vibrations in the air itself. Some fear what might happen if this information spreads through the galaxy. Alan understood first. They're worried about other species finding Earth. Director Nall nodded. There are species who might seek to contain or eliminate what they see as the death world threat before humans expand further into space. This news stunned the humans. The idea that advanced alien civilizations might see Earth as a threat to be neutralized was terrifying. But we're not a threat, Lisa protested. We just want to live in peace. Many of us believe you, said Director Nall. But your evolutionary history makes some species nervous. You evolved through competition and survival in harsh conditions. Most galactic civilizations evolved through cooperation in gentle environments. The delegation explained that there was another complication. A faction of the zoo's leadership opposed releasing the humans. They argued that since humans didn't know about galactic civilization before their capture, returning them with this knowledge would violate the non-interference protocols for developing worlds. Earth has been under quarantine for centuries, explained the cloud-like being. A protective boundary was placed around your solar system long ago to shield developing species from cultural contamination. That is why we have not made official contact with Earth. Then how did we end up in your zoo? Bill asked angrily. Director Nall's skin darkened with what seemed like embarrassment. The zoo's collection teams were not supposed to take specimens from quarantined worlds. They broke protocols. That is part of what makes your situation so complicated. Later that day, Spark visited them. The young Valnar had been kept away during the official assessment, but had apparently snuck in to see them. I am glad they recognized your true nature, Spark said through the translator. But there is still much debate about what to do with you. What will happen to you? Lisa asked. Will you get in trouble for helping us? Spark's skin glowed faintly. I have been removed from my position at the zoo, but many see my actions as correct. I might even be invited to join the Sentient Rights Council as a junior member. Before leaving, Spark shared one more piece of information. The zoo is not merely for entertainment or education. It is part of a larger conservation effort. Some star systems are becoming unstable due to a cosmic phenomenon we don't fully understand. We preserve species from affected worlds. Is Earth affected? Samantha asked with concern. Your sun shows early signs of the instability, Spark admitted, but catastrophic effects would be centuries away. That night, the humans discussed their situation. They had learned so much, but now faced difficult choices. They say we'll be officially released tomorrow, Jack told the group. But released to where, and under what conditions? We need to go home, Bill insisted. Warn Earth about the potential threats out there. But if we do that, we might cause panic, Samantha argued. Or worse, trigger aggressive responses that could endanger Earth. We need to think carefully about our next steps, Alan said. Tomorrow, we'll likely be offered choices about our future. We should be prepared to make the right decision, not just for us, but for all of humanity. The humans gathered in a large circular room aboard the main administrative section of the space station. The walls were curved and shimmered with soft light. Through large windows, they could see the vastness of space and the structure of the enormous zoo spreading out below them. Director Nile and representatives from 5 different alien species sat across from them at a crescent-shaped table. The humans, Jack, Bill, Samantha, Lisa, Alan, and 12 others, waited nervously to hear their fate. We have reached a decision regarding your situation, Director Nile announced. The translation device conveyed the words in a neutral tone. But first we must offer you a choice. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth, blue and beautiful, floating in space. Your planet remains unaware of galactic civilization, continued Nal. The quarantine around your solar system is still in effect. We offer you 3 options. The hologram changed to show 3 different images. First option, we can return you to Earth with your memories altered. You would remember nothing of your time here. You would resume your lives with no knowledge of alien life or the wider galaxy. The second image appeared showing humans and aliens meeting. Second option, you can become Earth's first official representatives to the galactic community. You would return home with your memories intact and help prepare your people for eventual contact. The third image showed the space station. Third option, you can remain here as cultural ambassadors, helping us understand humans better and ensuring no further misclassifications occur. The room fell silent as the humans considered these options. Jack spoke first. If we choose to return, with our memories intact, what happens to Earth? Will the quarantine be lifted? Not immediately, said a tall, plant-like alien with leaves instead of hair. Contact would be gradual, carefully managed over decades to prevent cultural shock. And what about the threat? Bill asked. You said some species might see Earth as dangerous. Director Nal's 4 eyes blinked slowly. That is a concern. Some militaristic species have been monitoring Earth with growing unease about human expansion. They fear what might happen when humans develop faster than light travel, which you will sooner than you might think, added another alien. Your species advances technology very quickly. Samantha leaned forward. What about the star instability you mentioned? The one affecting our sun? The cloud-like delegate rippled slightly. The phenomenon is real, but its effects on your solar system would not be catastrophic for at least 300 of your years. We have been working on solutions. Alan had been quietly thinking. Now he spoke up. These options all assume that humans must either know everything or nothing about the galaxy. Is there no middle path? A way to gradually introduce this knowledge? The aliens looked at each other, communicating in ways the humans couldn't understand. Finally, Director Nile responded. A gradual approach has merit, perhaps a controlled first contact with selected human representatives. For hours, the humans discussed their options among themselves. Each had their own view on what was best for humanity. We should return with our memories intact, Jack argued. Earth needs to be prepared for what's out there, both the threats and the opportunities. But dropping this knowledge suddenly could cause panic, Samantha countered. Wars have started over less. What about the other misclassified species? Lisa asked. We can't just leave them here. Bill, who had been the most eager to escape, now seemed thoughtful. Maybe we should split up. Some stay here as ambassadors, some return to Earth. Alan suggested another possibility. What if we return to Earth as part of an official first contact mission? We could go home with a diplomatic delegation, helping to introduce Earth to the galactic community in a controlled way. After much debate, they reached a consensus. Jack approached the alien delegation to present their decision. We want to return to Earth with our memories intact as part of an official first contact mission. We will help prepare humanity gradually for integration into the galactic community. The aliens considered this request. After conferring, Director Null agreed. Your proposal is acceptable. We will prepare a diplomatic mission to Earth. You will return as cultural translators, helping both sides understand each other. There was one more surprise. Spark entered the room accompanied by representatives from other misclassified species, the Corva that Lisa had contacted, and 3 other intelligent species who had been kept in the zoo. We have been discussing the misclassifications, Spark announced. The Sentient Rights Council has agreed that all intelligent beings must be released. These representatives will also return to their homeworlds with diplomatic missions. Over the next month, the humans trained for their new role. They learned about galactic politics, technology, and cultural norms. They helped design the first contact protocols for Earth, ensuring they would be respectful of human customs and governments. The day before their departure, Jack stood on an observation deck, looking out at the vast zoological park with its thousands of habitats. Lisa joined him. Nervous about going home? She asked. Jack nodded. Everything will be different now. Earth will never be the same. That's not necessarily bad, Lisa said. We've learned that we're not alone, that there's so much more to the universe than we imagined. We've also learned that the traits that made them lock us in the predator section, our adaptability, our toughness, our determination, are actually our greatest strengths, Jack added. Samantha and Alan joined them at the window. I've been talking with the galactic scientists, Samantha said. They believe humans might have unique insights into the star instability problem precisely because we evolved on a changing, challenging world. We might end up saving them, rather than them saving us, Alan remarked. Bill was the last to join. Them. The ship is ready. We leave tomorrow morning. As they prepared to board the diplomatic vessel the next day, they received a transmission, a message intercepted from Earth. A human space probe had detected the edge of the quarantine field. Scientists on Earth were already asking questions, theorizing about the strange energy barrier at the edge of their solar system. Earth's isolation is ending one way or another, Director Null observed. Your return comes at the right time. Jack looked at his fellow humans, once zoo specimens, now ambassadors. Let's go home, he said. We have quite a story to tell. The diplomatic ship departed, carrying the humans and representatives from the Galactic Council. As they approached the solar system, Jack thought about how strange their journey had been. From captives in the predator section of an alien zoo to humanity's first guides to the stars. What had started as a misunderstanding about human nature had become an opportunity. The very qualities that had made the aliens fear humans, their resilience, adaptability, and determination, were now recognized as valuable traits in facing the challenges that lay ahead. Earth was about to learn it wasn't alone in the universe. And the universe was about to learn that humans, despite evolving on a death world, could be valuable allies rather than dangerous predators.